Hello and welcome to Let's Look At, a series where I take a look at old videos I made in the past or archive for the future. Today's episode, we're continuing on our adventures with Peanut Snoopy's Town Tales with St. Patrick's Day of 2020. Now, this one is interesting because this would lead into where I first started, which would have been the first Easter one. So it's really chronologically out of order, except if you watch my... Besides the point, okay? What you're going to find out is that after this one, that we're going to have a huge jump into the next... I'll explain it. Like, it makes sense chronologically if you're watching this via the Let's Plays, but if you're listening to this just as its own... Anyways, I digress. So, with this St. Patrick's Day update, we introduced to one of the new other protagonists. We got Joe Richkid, and now we have Joe Richkid. I'm sorry, Joe Richkid. It's proper. But yeah, this is, we get to introduce to this guy. So we're going to take a look into this and see how far I actually got to playing this and go from there. So we got the loading screen here, St. Patrick's Day. And of course, I'm going to have to do that jingle as I usually do, just because if I don't, then I don't know where I'm going to be going with this. So bear with me as I try to do the usual things as we kind of go through. But yeah, the loading screen is actually looking kind of nice. This is the first St. Patrick's Day with the new art style, by the way, and then this will also be one of the last times we take a look at the old way of doing events, because when we discuss at the end, I'll explain myself. But yeah, it's quite interesting, especially with this year kind of being odd with its finishing up on certain things. God, the loading is so long. I should have just cut. Oh, there we go. All right. Anyways. Okay, I got it. All right, so we got this going on here. All right. So this should be an interesting adventure for sure. All right, so let's. So this is a clover pack. Comes with a Joe Richkid as well as a Woodstock statue, which is good. Oh, there you go. My brain is overheating, so I have tea on to keep it cool, as per usual. Because if not, as we know, world ends. Anyways, so we got this craft item, playing animations, new scene, blah 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 blah. Got some old items from the past, St. Patrick's Day stuff, which is unique. I think this is the second time we had a St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, this is the second time we had a St. Patrick's Day update, so this is quite interesting. And then we got some new stuff here too. Now, unfortunately, I did play the 2019 version, but it wasn't anything too unique to kind of, you know, be justified to show it off, because there wasn't anything really to the there. So I decided to skip it, unfortunately. I know. Sometimes there wasn't any videos to kind of do, so then we think we get an interesting castle with gold, so that's cool. That'll be interesting to kind of see how that turns out. But we want to see the adventure of certain stuff, so let's go ahead. And I believe, okay. Big brother, did you see the story in the newspaper about St. Patrick's Day? Why? Is it about the annual parade or something? No, it turns out there's a tale of a local Irish secret! Interesting. Kind of secret. Will it keep me from getting pinched? Yes, and then place that scene in the crafting. Yeah, when we get to Joe Richkid, as far as his animation stuff goes, it'll be based on the actual comic strip that he came from, which actually has Peppermint Patty involved. And yep, I know this is our favorite song, so allow me to go ahead and do it. Yep, I have to keep doing that because this is funny. There's like 4 different songs here, and this is the one that I kind of keep doing the meme for. I don't know why. It's just I guess it's just the jingle kind of gets to me. It's like, ooh, this is my jam. You know what I mean? But anyways, so we're gonna put this down here, I think. Okay, so we can't do that because that is in the way, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to move stuff, or I guess in this case, put in storage. So, you know, we'll do that for now. Let's do that again. It's interesting that these don't actually get put into the, like, you only get it through that option, and then that's it. Unique, anyways. I do like the fact that the signs there kind of show you that it's a crafting area, but then later it just disappears. And then it just turns into a decoration after the fact. It's not like how it is nowadays, where they've actually changed the way they did their scenes and whatnot. But I'll show it off later. But yeah, anyways, let's put this down here like this, and there we go. The article says you can find the look of the Irish out of town on St. Patrick's Day. Does it say where you can find it? No, but it mentions a book in the library about the legend. Oh, well, obviously not. Well, if it gets you to do some reading, I'm all for it. I was about to say, she's gonna be like, but I don't want to read it, so I guess we're not gonna do it. It's right. Big brother, I found an old note in the book in the library. I'm sorry for the horrible voice. It reveals the local Irish secret every year on St. Patrick's Day. A hidden rainbow waterfall is received to those who seek. Wow. Okay, so that's the gimmick, and that's where the scene comes in. Interesting. I already know we're gonna see sad Joe Agatha near the end and be like, oh, you didn't do it, too bad. Anyways, here's a close-up of Lucy doing this, which is frying, and I believe this is a new animation. And most of these animations for this time is new, because again, what was introduced back in the first St. Patrick's Day was Rover, which was a very exclusive character, because unfortunately after Rover died, I know that's sad, that's very grim for me to say, but technically speaking he did, because we don't get him anymore, which sucks, but legal problems, you know what I mean? That was the deal. So if you got Rover back then, cool. If not, oh well. Yep. And the music glitched out again, so yeah, so now we have, so we need Sally and Joe Agatha. Okay. Joe Richkid, sorry, not Joe Agatha. God. Alright. So we're gonna be doing this for a little bit. Alright, so I'm gonna put this down. It's interesting that the trees are basically the same as the scene here, so quite unique. And I still have enough of these. Alright, so I decided to... Why did I spend so much money on doing this? It's not like I was... Oh, I had to do it. Okay, well that made sense. So I tried to make a forest here. Alright, see, I don't pay attention sometimes. Anyways, Snoopy can do it same. It's this day. Yay, he's doing Irish jig. As you do. Anyways. And then I'm gonna look at all the characters to see who can do what. Namely, the main characters tend to do stuff. Oh, so we have resolved, make sure of that. Next time we go to a club, make sure it actually is a nightclub. I went to a business seminar. People expected to keep getting higher and higher. Apparently, Santa Cactus views aren't as popular as whatever. Alright. Alright, so what are we gonna do with you? Alright, so you can't do that just yet. I mean, you can, but you know, you don't have anything very useful for me. Oh, Brain, why do you do this to me, Brain? Why do you make me look stupid in front of the nice people here? Anyways, let's see here. Okay, that's not gonna work. Gotta find what I'm looking for. Is it this? Yes. Okay, so this is something. He does the roller skating. By the way, the roller skating was recycled. This was back when he did the Mimi event that I never got to play, because that was when he was skateboarding like crazy. And then he does the Yeehaw Cowboy. I think that's an old animation that they recycled, but still. And yeah, this was me guessing the music, so this is just yeah, I'll just put the music here just because. So that way it feels like the game is not broken, but it is. And we're gonna get used to the like eventually the old videos are gonna go bye-bye. after the next coverage I do for this channel, because afterwards we're going to the new phone, which means better quality as far as like graphics go. I mean, the graphics is like nothing to write home about, but still, it's just like, you know, performances will make a difference. And then this is her playing, is it the harp? It's one of the string instruments. And then of course he does his little fiddly thing there, as per usual. Anyways, right. Alright. Okay, so I'm just looking for characters who can do me stuff to help me in these updates. And eventually what will happen is the name of the game is going to be changing. So as far as old videos go, as far as what I've covered, this is technically the last of the coverage that will use this old style event. Technically speaking, I already did. Technically, the last time we actually will see this is back after June, because in July they introduced a new feature, which I'm sure you probably already know what it is, but I'll hold my tongue just for yet, because again, it's a new mechanic, because another game came out recently, or back in 2020, in 2019, which was the Addams Family Mystery Mansion, which I did cover, and I have uploaded, so you can take a look at that in the main channel. But long story short, they introduced this gimmick of, well, we can't do new characters because the Addams are just the Addams, so what can we do? You know, we can sell costumes. So what if we decide to do a new feature, the thing that kind of came out around 2018, which is the Battle Pass? Well, to be fair, okay, now the music's back on. So to be fair, the Battle Pass wasn't a new thing. This has been an old thing made by Valve. But what was new about it, and this is her looking at herself there, but what was new about it is that Fortnite popularized it, kind of like how Overwatch popularized the loot box mechanic. But again, all the mechanics that you've known as far as microtransaction goes, like the loot box, you know, the Battle Pass, all that stuff, all done by Valve. And then we finally bought this, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, when you think about it, Valve ended up buying it. Like the Dota thing, that was during the whole Battle Pass. That's kind of like how they got that whole thing going on. No, MapleStory also did that too, I think. Oh no, it did a gotcha. I don't know. They did a lot of things. Did a lot of people, right? Like for example, the loot box stuff, that was done by Valve first in Team Fortress 2. In fact, the way they did it was even worse, because you would have to buy the key. Like, you'd get the box, right? But you need to buy a key in order to open the box. So, anyways, so we got Joe Richkid looking in like a snob, as he usually does. Are you ready for some golf, Marcy? I can't wait for today's tournament to start. You'll be put into a threesome with Mask Marvel and Joe Richkid, sir. Mask Marvel. Joe Richkid? Who's that? Joe Richkid would be the winner of this tournament. That's who he is. I have to do a rich, snobby voice for him. But, you know, high pitch. Oh. God, I'm just reminded of the Psycho Pebbles stuff. No, it was only... God, me, I know my stuff, okay? I'm tired, I'm sorry. Only plays with the whole Mengavi and Levioso. Stop it, Ron. Oh. That's it. Like, you have to do that accent. It's like, oh, I have money. Anyways, this is him kind of doing the whole, I don't care. He's leaning on his thing, and he's like, oh. Anytime they talk, I just hear the trombone thing. God, the old blacksmith shop. Old blacksmith. Okay, so now then. Yeah, there's not a whole lot in this particular update that I've done. Sadly, the only time I ever seen so far gotten anything completed 100% was surprisingly the third time we actually seen this St. Patrick's Day update, and that was the 2021's version, which introduced Baby, Crybaby Booby, which I did show off in this channel already by the time this was recorded. I know this is so chronologically all over the place, but again, if you want a timeline of when it was released on its timeline thing, Hellgear does a coverage of it, which is great. But for this particular one, what I've done is I've done it chronologically on my main channel and the main playlist. But for over here, as far as the Let's Look At series goes, it's by release date. So basically, what I did originally was like, oh, I would cover the 4 main things that Hellgear didn't do, and then everyone's just like, ah, no, do more, do more. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll try to do as much of the archive stuff and my vocabulary as I can, because I'm covering Snoopy now, because there's no other games that Pixels have done that I actually can do this with. They can make actual proper videos for. So this is just my life now. This is what I have to do, sadly. But you know, you have to live with what you got for now to do stuff. And this is him doing the golfing thing. So you know, she does this first. She just does that. Then she goes back, and then it's Joe Richkid's turn, and he's gonna do his whack. Yeah. So that's an interesting animation. Hey, they finally buy this. I've never been so mad in my life. What happened? Oh, give a wild guess. That Joe Richkid kid. He never told me we were playing marbles for keeps. Why don't you sneak up behind him and hit him with a stick? Yeah, of course we run. Alright, so this is interesting. So watch this thing. Hey, kid, you want to play marbles? I'll show you how. We'll just play for fun. No, we'll play for keeps. For keeps? You mean you played before? Yeah, look at this. See this right here? Oops! Looks like Pixel forgot to animate a particular, you know, let's just say I didn't arrive on the stagecoach. Yeah, he kind of knows his stick right now. But yeah, so they reanimated everything. Like, they redrawn all the scenes, but they missed that one. Whoops! So yeah, if you have Joe Richkid and you play this questline, when you get to that part, that shock expression is done by the old style, which was the 2015's Blue Skies animation one, which is a great movie, by the way. Would you like to stay here if you could? We get a lot of customers. The Safari could stay a lot. Me gusta mucho if that could happen. I'd like to stay. Well, I hope you can. Yeah, so this is Dolores, I think is the name. Or Dolores, I don't know. It's nice to have amigos and amigas in town. I'd like to stay here if we can make it work for the safari. I do agree that I get to that, but Mama would let us stay. So I better get here Liberia to make sure well in school here. Yeah, gimmick is she's Spanish. By the way, this character only appeared in a little special, like, PSA thing. So, honestly, she doesn't exist in the main Salt's universe, right? But she does technically exist, but, you know. And she was introduced in a Safari update, which is weird because she's... I'm assuming she's Mexican in a sense, so she's Latina and that type of... Like, she's a Latin American. But it's very interesting, right? The way they have it designed. And what's weird, too, by the way, depending on where you are from, you know, Spain, Mexico, or whatever, the skin color, like, yeah, there's like, oh yeah, you're tan, right? In the sense, like, you're not, your pigment isn't, like, bright white, right? But I'm not saying you're dark either, like, you're, like, what do you call it? Melatonin, I think is what it is, that type of thing. Yeah, but for some reason, it's like, it usually depends on the shade, right? You don't really get the same, like, same color. You know, I'm just gonna stop talking right now. Alright, so we got a nice green Care Bear knockoff teddy bear for St. Patrick's colorful pack. By the way, what's weird too, by the way, when I mentioned St. Patrick's, it's like YouTube does his recommended thing. Is like, oh yeah, St. Patrick's, I know who that is, right? I gotta do this. But anyways, here are these two together. So she's doing this stuff, and then he's just doing that. Yeah. I don't know if I continue on with the Joe Agath. I think no. Thank you for being a great neighbor. So we get some stuff. So if I remember correctly, there was a glitch or an error that was going on. So this was a big, oops, sorry, here's something to help you out. But again, like you could see, I don't care. Oh, colorful pack. Oh, yippee. Thank you. I'm not caring for that. And we'll just see, how far have I done? So this is the 14th. So we're getting, like, I think this is, like, close to that. Does the note say what the rainbow waterfall could do? Is it magical?
It doesn't say, but it must grant you a pot of golds or wishes or something. Otherwise, why would someone have a note in the book like that? We've got to find this rainbow waterfall.
Yay! Did it. Okay, go back here. Alright. Yeah, let's do this. Are there any clues on the note to help us find the waterfall, Sally?
It says that we have to find the luck of the Irish. Only then will the rainbow waterfall be revealed.
I guess we need to look for a luck of the Irish. Whatever that is. Did someone ask for Irish step dancing? No, Snoopy, no one asked for that. You have to get a 4-leaf clover, but he's just like, did anyone want to see a dog dancing the Irish jig? And it's like, no, we didn't ask for that. Too bad, I'm gonna do it anyway. You know, the typical Irish music playing on. God, Snoopy has to butt in every. Okay, I get it. He's the guy who sells the merch. Okay, I get it. He's cute doggy and all that stuff. But makes absolutely no sense why he just goes and does stuff. Hi, Joe Richkid. I'm Peppermint Patty. We've been playing the same threesome. Don't get too close. You might step on my golf shoes or smudge my yellow turtleneck. Yeah. Never strike another player on the first tee, sir. Yeah. The same thing as the comics. But anyways, we're finally done with that. So now we just continue on with this quest line a little bit. Okay, let's see what this. Well, tee up. You're first, Joe Richkid. What a stupid name. Sorry, Joe Richkid. Your drive just went out of bounds. Huh? The Masked Marvel's up next. I bet he'll do better. Yeah. I'm sure he does. Because again, he is, as we say, the Masked Marvel. I had a thought. Oh, yeah, because it's Snoopy, right? Because it's Snoopy. He's superhuman. He could do whatever the hell he wants. But for Peppermint Patty, she'd be like, oh, the Masked Marvel was the kid with the big nose because she's dumb. Patricia Reinhardt. Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember I pissed someone off. He's just like, you don't know how to say his name properly, her name properly. You know English good. But yeah, no crap. I don't know English good. When it comes to names, screw it. I am screwed when it comes to names, right? If it's like Bobby or John or some normal name, I'm like, okay, I'm good. But if you have a unique name, God help you. That's some great Irish dancing, Snoopy, but I don't see any waterfall. Okay.
Maybe we can ask someone to help us find the luck of the Irish.
Borley Clovers. I know. We can ask him proper of the Old Inn. He knows all about Irish. Or Ireland. Because he's Irish.
Boy, the Old Town neighborhood sure does look old.
No. Yeah, it's the well step to the old country. It's very authentic. They're getting ready for St. Patrick's Day at the Old Inn. Let's go inside.
I'm not wearing any green. Does that mean I get pitched?
Yeah, the little gremlins are gonna come pitch you, Sally. Yeah, so, yeah, no shish kebabs. No shish kebabs. God, ooh. You know, I tend to try to keep myself from being good behavior, but I might have just. I'm just gonna pretend as if that didn't happen. So, oh yeah, we passed St. Patrick's Day, by the way, so we're going into the 20th soon. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, there we go. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh God, you gotta love that. The timing and everything like that. That's the double d's. Right? I don't know what you call that. Ah, and it glitched. So, sir, you say we have to go into the old forest to search, and we need the luck of the Irish in our heart and Irish clothes on our backs? Only then will the rainbow waterfall reveal itself to us?
This better not be a scam to get us buy Irish clothes from the old gift shop.
Probably is.
Do you think these clothes will make this waterfall appear for us?
I hope so, because we got really far into the forest now. I'm not sure if we can find our way home. Yeah. And then play the scene, get a rainbow from the scene. Sounds good. Oh yeah, by the way. I don't know what I was about to say. I kind of stopped for it. I was just about to say, could you imagine that it actually was a scam? That just that they want to go, kids go to the old Irish town, part of town, for apparently. Oh no. Oh rats, gotta start all over again. Oh boy. Alright. Now we can start the scene, and we can actually show this off. So here we go. Here we go. Do 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 do. No 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 no. Alright. Yeah, so this is a cool animation, and of course Charlie there, just waving the flag and all that stuff, he does that animation regardless, so it's just weird. Yeah, you know what's weird? I just realized most of these, like Snoopy does this dance, that's normal. I don't know if Peppermint Patty or Joe Richkid, I don't think they do that. I think that's unique there, but you know, the other ones have been recycled, so you know. God. Oh, cool, we got this. If I want to get it, but I'm not gonna. The 28th, by the way. And then we got this new pack here. So this is an interesting medieval pack. Cool! You know, very cool. Again, get it because, you know, Joe Rich. You know what's weird too? Like, I remember, like, these new characters come in these events and they have the background be that of the event color. But as soon as, like, they come back into the game, they go into the normal yellow color, as in, like, a generic that's not part of the event. Or, no, not part of the event. Not part of the main quest line, I should say. It's a side quest. Yay! Money for sending gifts to Charlie Brown. Which is so generic, but... Oh, I'll do that 10 times a day, and you get some $5. Yay! 5 Beagle bucks, everybody! And I bought that for some reason. I don't know where exactly I bought that, but I did, and I ended up getting like money from it every now and then, every day.
Look, it's a rainbow! I've never seen one!
It comes from the waterfall, like magic! I feel like we found a very special place, and all thanks to it. And my dance, let's not forget important contribution. Yeah, of course, Snoopy.
The rainbow waterfall doesn't just look magical.
Like, we can make things from it magical water. Well, should be nice for our friends with the power. I know, let's make St. Patrick Day for everybody. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all the quest lines I got going on for myself. You know, yay, they found the magic waterfall, and the magic... Yeah, it just looked... You know what it is? Who's to say... Okay, I know that some places in America... What they would do is that they would dye the river green for St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if they do that anymore because of how polluted the water is. But can you imagine if somebody actually decided to put colorful lights underneath the waterfalls, and the dumb kids were like, oh, it's magic! Look, rainbow colors! And it's, you know what I mean? And it's like somebody decided to drop dye in there or something like that. I know rainbows come from waterfalls. Makes total sense. That's why they're called rainbows. Oh, God. Me and my, silliness. Me and my commentary. What is this nonsense? You're just watching me play old games back, like, 5 years ago, and then me in the future comments on my past self. And God knows what he was thinking about during this time, because I think he was playing Beast Beneath the Sink event, and then he was also playing the Adams' St. Patrick's Day. That was the more important stuff. This one though is just like, yeah, I'll do it when I want to. I'll do it if I feel like it. When I feel like it. Which is enough to actually do a video for, so we got that for ourselves. So that's good. Yay, Grim, you did something good. Oh boy, so but we are coming close to finishing this, unfortunately, so yeah, days are counting down, time's almost up, and quite honestly, I do my best here when it comes to the commentary stuff. But let's see this here. I know the song. I hear it so many times that it's gone into my head like a worm. Alright. So anyways. God, you can imagine a guy playing the piano on this thing. Man, he's just so jazzed up, right? Who made that song, I wonder? Like, who made this, by the way? Like, I know that it's supposed to sound like a Snoopy-ish song, but someone on the team had to do this or commission someone to do this. It's just like, I want... Can you imagine telling the guy, look, I want you to make it sound like Snoopy, but not be covered by Snoopy. You know what I mean? You mean like royalty free? Yeah, like that. You know, like the Lucy and Linus song. Do 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 do. You know, like that. But we can't do that because it's copyright. So we gotta do something similar to that. I got like 4 different versions. All right, let's hear them. Which one should we do? All of them. All of them? Yeah, all of them. We'll do all 4. Sorry, Mask Marvel. Your drive just went out of bounds. Sorry, Patricia. Your drive just went out of bounds. Oh, everyone's went out of bounds. What the hell is this? This is the sorriest golf goop I have ever seen. Yeah, everyone just sucks. Why even play golf? Or what a putt-putt, right? Mini golf. That's better for you lose. Oh, I'm sorry. Where'd you go? Oh, right, you're over here. So how long have you been playing golf, Joe Richkid? All my life. Instead of a onesies, I wore a poor little shirt. I'm sure we're really popular in the playing ground. Yep, that's the thing. Like, again, it's like these kids are so, like, they should... Okay, I get it that this is, like, based on Sparky's whole thing. But it's so weird looking at this 75 years later, and they're like supposed to be kids, but they sound like old people. You know what I mean? Let's watch this let's watch Citizen Kane, for example. That's an old movie. No kid nowadays knows what that is. Comes off as being like, oh, Snoopy. Well, Snoopy's dead, by the way. He's like years ago. But he's not even a dog. He's like some sort of immortal being. Like he and Garfield, like just become immortal beings that somehow can talk via speech bubbles, but they don't really talk. You know what I mean? Oh, except for Garfield. Garfield somehow ends up talking just normally, right? But whatever. And this is the last clip, by the way, because I'm now just buying stuff that I can buy. And I just realized I lied. I said that, oh, this is the last time we do the Joe Richkid, but, you know, apparently not. But, yeah, so we don't get the, oh, you suck, oh, you didn't get the cash, oh, too bad. I mean, we did get to see a bit of it in the Easter update, so if you're curious, you can see that. But, or the Valentine's Day one that passed. You can see that, because that's there. But, yeah. Alright, so you got that. And that, my friends, was whatever I recorded for St. Patrick's Day of 2020. Wasn't that fun? Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was lots of fun. Fun and excitement for all. Anywho, the next video I got covering this time around is going to be looking at the, what was it? It's not Snoopy, no, it is Snoopy, don't get me wrong. I mean, technically in the timeline it would have been the Easter update, but I already covered it. That was like the first video covered. So, next on the playlist, or what I'm going to record next for me, is actually going to be the July update, which is the movie star update, and that one's going to be interesting because, like I said, it's introducing the Battle Pass feature. So we're going to take a look into that. And yeah, so this was the last time we got to see the old style, because now it's going to be forever changing. So hopefully you look forward to that, and with that, we'll do it for this episode. See you next time for some more videos from the archives.